So this technique is a visualization technique. And the reason why I use visualization, because in my opinion, I feel typically for myself, and it depends upon the client that I have. I might tell some clients to do a different technique if that's what they're accustomed to, but this is the technique that I give to my clients generally. And hey, it typically works for them. So the first thing that you want to do is relax. You either want to lay down or sit down, however long it takes you to feel relaxed. The reason why I say feel relaxed is that typically when you're in a state of relaxation, your brain switches to producing theta waves. Theta waves are associated brain waves that produce the subconscious opening. Your subconscious mind is the mind that we're going to be targeting here in order for us to actually be able to create things. It's very important that it's your subconscious that we're working with here. Now, after you relax, however long it takes you, the second thing that you want to do is to bring a scene to mind. Bring a scene where someone you love, somebody that would genuinely be happy for the materialization of what it is that you want, is acknowledging your desire having manifested. You want to keep it short. So for example, just to spitball some, let's say you're in a relationship, they can be like, oh, I've never seen you looking happier. That's probably something that they would say. If it was a certain amount of money, it's, I knew you was gonna make X amount of money. If it was the job, I knew you was gonna get the job. If it's a promotion, I knew you was gonna get the promotion. Somebody that would genuinely be happy for you. In this visualization, you want to keep it short. Hopefully it's less than 5 seconds, because it should just be a dialogue of them saying something that acknowledges a particular degree of happiness and expression towards whatever it is that you want. You then want to incorporate some physical touch into it, because that makes it more real to your mind. And then you just want to loop this again and again like an Instagram boomerang until you get tired. Once you begin to feel as if you're straining, you know when you're visualizing, you're like, and you're really struggling to see whatever it is that you want to materialize, or it's requiring a lot of effort, stop the visualization, get up. Now, this might take you 5 minutes, it might take you 10, it might take you an hour, however long it takes you. The moment that it becomes straining, you get up. You get up and go about your life. You then pick a simple, single sentence that you would think upon materializing whatever it is that you want. So, for example, if it's a certain amount of money, I knew I hit X amount of money. If it's, I'm so in love with this person, I'm so in love. A simple sentence that you'd think upon being in that desired reality. So think about the version of you that has whatever it is that you want. What would be a sentence that they would think that would indicate to you that you already have what it is that you want? So for money, for example, it could be, I knew I was going to hit X amount of money this month. I know I was going to make X amount this year. I knew that deal was going to close. And this is something that you go throughout your day. When you're brushing your teeth, you're going on a walk, you're eating lunch, you're chilling with your people, you're chilling, you're laughing. You take one thought and you just drum it into your head again and again and again and again and again and again and again throughout the whole day. As much as you can. If you forget, cool, just get back to it. Do that for the whole day. Now, that's the technique that I give to clients. Now, one thing that I have to mention is manifestation muscle and conviction levels. See, here's the thing. If you don't have the conviction in your ability to materialize what it is that you want, then you have two options. Either increase conviction or, and this isn't a bad thing, you decrease your goal. Now, that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying if your goal is to be in a happy, healthy relationship, go and date, the worst of the worst. I'm not saying anything along those lines. But what I'm trying to get you to realize is, here's a question I always ask the clients. When clients come to me and they say, I'll give you an example. One of my clients, Matt Ulrich, he owns a skincare company called Cure Skincare. They're about to touch 100 mil. We started working together about 5-6 months ago. The company was at 40 mil. So in this amount of time, he's reached 100 mil. You can go check him up on Instagram. And a question that I ask all of my clients is, depending upon what their goal is, if they want to make a certain amount in a year, if they want to make a certain amount in a month, I always say to them, and you can extrapolate this to whatever your desire is. On a scale of 1 to 10, and ask yourself this question. When you hear me ask this question, connect it to your desired reality and get a number in your head. Whatever your goal is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the likelihood of you getting it next month? Now, let me be real. If your thing's anything below 8, wrap it up. If it's anything below 8, then what that indicates is that you don't have the conviction that it takes to materialize what it is that you want. See, conviction is 10 out of 10. Conviction is, I know there's no room about it. And this is where you want to be when it comes to materialize whatever it is that you want. You want to have the conviction. Why? Because the things that you're able to manifest easily, maybe small amounts of money, people you don't want, not being employed. All of these things, you have conviction levels that you have 10 out of 10 in. So for you either want to increase the conviction or decrease your goal. I always say decrease your goal first because it's the path of least resistance. So let's say you want to make a certain amount of money. Okay, choose a number that your mind knows it can absolutely make. If it's to, maybe it's not to be happily married, maybe it's to go on dates with somebody that is a calm person, that could be that. So take whatever your goal is and look for the steps prior to that, because your mind will have a much easier time conceiving that. Because like I said, most of you don't have the conviction to do what it is that you want. Conviction is the only technique. Remember, you're thinking, oh, it's the technique that creates reality. No, the technique has one purpose. The purpose of any technique is to shift you internally, to which you become in resonance with what it is that you want. So what you want comes to you. That's what the purpose of the technique is, because the technique puts you in a state of conviction. Conviction then intertwines with the frequencies that you're operating at, and then that creates a particular degree of resonance with what it is that you want. So when you decrease your goal, it enables for you to do one thing: build manifestation muscle. I always say to people, okay, if you've never manifested anything of substance, then the first thing that you need to actually do is to prove to yourself that you can do this. So pick a color car and say that you're going to see this specific car in this specific color. Do that. I've had people send me lime green Rolls Royces because that's what they chose. And it's so strange when you think about it like that. But pick something. It could be something specific that if I saw that, that's because I brought that into my existence. If you do that for about a week straight, you would have proved to your mind again and again that, you know what? I really do this shit. I really create this. And then your conviction and your ability to materialize your goals will be much bigger. Because if you don't even think you can manifest a parking space, then how do you think you could ever materialize whatever it is that you want? If you don't even think you can meet a decent man, how the hell can you ever convince your mind that you're somehow going to marry one? See, building manifestation muscles is of the highest importance. You wouldn't walk into a gym and expect to bench a huge weight that you've just never done before. You wouldn't expect that. The typical is progressive overload. And that's what we do when it comes to manifestation. You want to build up your conviction by manifesting things that don't matter, or things that do matter, but just in smaller increments. And that's not to say that you have to go in increments forever. It's you need to go in a couple increments and then you can be like, I can do that easy. That's where you want to be in your head. That's where you want to be in your head. And most of you, let's be real, don't lie to me, you're not at that point. Which means there's more manifestation muscle to build, which is fun. You have to have fun with this. It's fun. If you can't have fun with this, you're not going to do it. That's why it says in the Bible, if you want to enter heaven, you must be like little children. That state of consciousness of pure abundance, pure infinite potential, and fun. That's what you need to be at.
Hi, Nero and AJ.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for your videos. YouTube used to recommend it to me, but I used to be too skeptical to watch because oh my God. I used to be too skeptical to watch because by then I was a devoted Christian.
Oh. That's not what I thought they were going to say.
You know. And I felt as if your teachings contradicted the word of God, but somehow I watched one of your videos and I've been hooked ever since.
Hey, I'll be real with you. I'll be real with you. If you're religious, these are some, you're on thin ice.
Careful now.
Because I'm not trying to lead you to hell, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I'm not religious. I'm just being real.
I just want to say thank you to the both of you. Show recommendation, Dark Matter, also about shifting realities, also helped change my perspective on
reality. I'm the one that recommended Dark Matter on this channel. This is crazy.
Well, you recommended it, I watched it, loved it. Great recommendation.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate
recommendation.
I appreciate that.
Kind regards, happiness from South Africa.
Much love. From a place with us where they sell lightning, I'd be religious too.
People are desperate for your app. Man. A month ago, someone said, drop your effing app frequency. Can you imagine?
Speaking of which, now, I typically believe that when it comes to manifestation, you don't actually need more information. I feel like most people know the information for manifestation. It's just about your ability to consistently implement the information practically. Consistency is the biggest problem when it comes to manifestation. And that's exactly why I created Frequency. Frequency is an app where you define the version of you that already has what it is that you want. And that version of you literally guides you every day until you become them. That is the basis of Frequency, and it got over 14,000 downloads in 72 hours. We provide a complimentary subconscious analysis and a frequency analysis too, and a 3-day free trial. So if you don't like it, just leave in it, and it's like £20 a month. If you fuck with it, you do. If you don't, you don't. But you know, it's a tool that I feel will keep you from being pulled out of the whirlwind. I think the whirlwind of life has a way of pulling us out of our identity and our frequency, so that keeps you there. So Frequency, link in the description. It's going crazy. But next thing, you can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. Now, this makes no initial sense, but you can only have externally what you already have internally. So once again, this is the process of reverse engineering. Instead of looking outside of what you want, see, most people just think, I want more money, and they stop there. Most people think, I want a partner, and they stop there. Most people think, I want a promotion, then they stop there. But the issue with that is that you're still focused on the effect. And because you're so hyperfixated on the effect, you actually never put yourself in a position for you to set in motion the cause to the effect. And this is what you have to begin to understand. You can only have externally what you already have internally. You can only have physically what you possess vibrationally. And vibrationally is nothing more than a combination of mentally and emotionally, or the 7 keys. However, it makes sense to you. I'm just covering all bases because for some people it will hit differently, for others it will hit differently. So you can only have what you already have. This comes into play with the understanding that it's not about reality. It's about your ability to attain what it is that you want. So what is it that you want? If it's a relationship that you want and you think you just want a relationship, then you're fucking wrong. There's only one thing that you ever want in life. One thing. One thing. The one thing that you ever want in life. Only one. An emotion. The only thing you actually want is an emotion that you think is missing. Listen to what I said. The only thing you want is an emotion that you think is missing. Think is missing. And unfortunately, off the basis of just the fact that you think it's missing, there are few truths in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true. And your subconscious mind accepts it, that it's true that you're missing something. You then actually separate yourself from the very emotion that would eventually become a vibration, that would become a frequency, that would become the very thing that it is that you want. So you think you want the relation. No, you want to be cherished. You want to be held. You want to be appreciated. You want to be loved. You want the emotions associated with that thing. If there was no emotions in that thing, you would not want it. I fucking promise you. There's nothing that you want in this life, even down to a toothpick, that doesn't provide a different type of feeling, whether subtle, whether intense. Think about everything you've ever wanted. A book. Why do you want a book? Because it's going to allow for you to know a certain information so you can feel something. Everything. Even a plastic water bottle. Now, don't let the microplastic spiritual people start cussing in the comments. But you get what I'm trying to say here, right? Everything in life that you want is nothing more than an emotion that you're missing. And this is the most liberating realization. Because guess what? Emotions are free. Emotions are free. The only thing that you need to buy your desired reality is the emotion that is associated with that reality that is missing. An emotion that you're depriving yourself from feeling, because in your mind, you're thinking to yourself, you know what? When I made that money, then I'll feel. When the truth is, it's the other way around. When you feel, then you will get the money. When you're thinking to yourself, you know what, when I'm finally in a relationship, then I feel appreciated, but, cherished. No, feeling cherished and appreciated is how you place yourself to be in resonance with the relationship in the first place. It's about understanding that you can only have what you already have. And if you don't have it, then you never will. If you don't have it internally, then you'll never have it externally. By the realization that fuck the external thing. It's not about the external thing. It's about the internal thing. Hence why I say, most people point you in the wrong direction when it comes to spirituality because they get you to focus on the realm of reality that doesn't even exist like that. It's not about that. It's not about that.
Someone said Nero wasn't born. He was spawned. But we had to let my nigga pretend he had a birthday so he could feel like a human.
This is crazy.
You know, them allegations will never go. The baby oil, the
Alien. Yep.
What are those? What are those?
The clone, the robot.
Yeah.
The plants.
Yeah.
Guys, only like 90% of that is true. Like,
Bro said 90.
Now, one thing that I do have to preface this with is that people don't seem to understand the concept that how do I say this? People don't seem to understand the concept that you already manifest. Now, people come to me because they think they have a manifestation problem. You don't have a manifestation problem until you actually declare that you have a manifestation problem, then you actually end up creating a manifestation problem. But I can assure you, you don't have a manifestation problem. Even if you're not materializing what it is that you want, you do not have a manifestation problem. That is not your problem. How do I know? Because you manifest on autopilot. You just manifest the shit you don't want, but then you think that's not you, so then you think you got a problem. Then you try to manifest what you do want, and then it doesn't work, so then you're like, this manifestation stuff doesn't work. But no, it's not like that. See, one thing that I've never heard anybody talk about is this: the fact that you have two different things that you're not, I guess, aware of. Now, we've heard of the conscious and subconscious mind, but have you ever heard of your conscious definition of things? And have you ever realized that that may not be the same as your subconscious definition of things? I'll give you an example. Define love. What's your definition of love? You'd probably say, I don't know, love is appreciation, it's cherishing, it's honesty, it's all of this, yada, yada, yada. You get the point. That's how we consciously define love. How do we define money? We define money as a store of value. You know what I mean? Fairly neutral things. What if your subconscious mind has its own definition, which is dangerous because you manifest from your subconscious mind? Your subconscious mind is the womb of reality. Everything that you materialize into existence comes from the subconscious mind. Hence why, if you're not taking into consideration your subconscious mind's definition towards what it is that you want, then you could be actually not struggling to manifest anything at all. You could be manifesting exactly what it is that your subconscious wants. See, your conscious definition of love may be appreciation, but the subconscious mind forms its definition, remember, on conviction and emotional intensity. Now, emotional intensity is expressed in two ways. Observation and experience. 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 But the core basis is emotional intensity. Now, what is the most intense things that you have experienced surrounding love or observed surrounding love? See, now the answer is a bit different. If you're like you've observed toxicity and chaos when it comes to love, predicated upon the emotional intensity of that observation, that is your subconscious definition, which means that love equates to chaos. So then when you say, I want to manifest love, and you get love, but it's chaotic love, why are you confused? You're getting exactly what your subconscious mind wants. What is your subconscious mind's definition of whatever it is that you want? The easiest way to ask yourself that is to come to realization on what have I observed or experienced with emotional intensity, negative emotional intensity, surrounding the thing that I want. So let's say you want a promotion, let's say you want a job, let's say you want a relationship, let's say you want more money in your business. What have I observed or experienced with emotional intensity on the negative side behind whatever it is that I want? In business, is it a continuous failure of deals to go through? In love, is it a string of bad dates, maybe a really bad breakup, maybe cheating? In career, could be continuous rejection in applications. You're making this final stage every time, then it falls through. if you've gone through that, then I can assure you your subconscious mind's definition of what you want is going to be skewed towards the negative side. So then when you go to manifest, you're like, why is it not working? But the truth is your mind's like, it is working. I'm literally manifesting exactly what we want, except you don't want that. Your subconscious mind does. And the easiest way to recreate that is to pick one core memory of observational experience. And when the negative is about to happen, you recreate it to be positive, while getting into a relaxed meditative state, because then, like a Word document, you overwrite the file that has been saved into your subconscious mind. So instead of saying negative, you overwrite it with a positive memory. Now it says positive, you hit save, boom. Nice and simple.